Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving into some really fascinating Japanese concepts.
We are.
And I am so here for it.
Yeah.
We're talking Wabi-sabi, Ikigai, Shu-ha-ri.
Yes.
And honestly, I couldn't be more excited. You know, I'm always looking for new ways to kind of approach life.
Absolutely.
And these concepts seem to offer really unique perspective on well-being and personal growth, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And you know what's really cool is that you sent over some excerpts from this document.
Yes.
Called Japanese Concept Improve Your Lifestyle.pdf. And
It's amazing, right?
it's fantastic.
I
And I
know.
love the energy.
I know, 5 exclamation points, like, yes, let's do this. Let's dive in.
So it seems like you're drawn to this idea of finding calm in the chaos,
Always.
maybe even a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, these concepts offer some really unique perspectives on those very things.
Okay, well, let's start with Wabi-sabi, because this is one I've always been kind of drawn to. I actually picked up this incredible, perfectly imperfect bowl in Kyoto a while back. Oh. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's like, it's got this beautiful crack, and the artisan actually highlighted it with gold.
Wow.
Like they deliberately emphasize the flaw instead of hiding it.
Yeah.
And you know what? It makes the whole piece even more stunning.
That's Wabi-sabi in action right there.
Is it really?
It's about finding beauty in imperfection and impermanence. Instead of striving for this unattainable ideal, it encourages us to appreciate the beauty in the raw, the unfinished, the ever-changing nature of things.
So it's like ditching the Instagram filters of life
Exactly.
and embracing the real, slightly messy, but ultimately beautiful reality.
Yes.
Okay, I can get behind that.
Yeah.
And, this image you sent, a collection of rustic bowls and natural elements, it totally captures that vibe.
Absolutely. It's about simplicity, authenticity, and finding a sense of peace in the present moment.
It's interesting you say that
Yeah.
because it does have this really calming effect, just looking at these images.
Absolutely. And you know what wabi-sabi is often linked to?
The Japanese tea ceremony,
Really?
which itself is a beautiful expression of this concept.
How so?
Well, think about it. Each element of the tea ceremony, the simple tea bowls, the imperfect yet carefully arranged flowers, even the act of preparing and serving the tea, it's all designed to bring awareness to the present moment and appreciate the transient beauty of life.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
It's true.
It's like they've created a ritual around finding peace and imperfection.
Exactly.
That's incredible. It's amazing how these concepts are just woven into their culture.
It really is, and that's what makes exploring these ideas so enriching.
Totally.
It allows us to step outside our own cultural framework and glimpse a different way of seeing the world.
I love that. Okay, so we're embracing imperfection, finding beauty in the everyday.
Yes.
But what about finding our actual purpose, that thing we're meant to be doing with our lives?
Oh, you're talking about Ikigai.
Yes.
And yes, you even sent over an image of the book Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life.
I did.
It's no coincidence that this concept is linked to longevity and fulfillment.
Yeah, and just looking at that serene cover image makes me feel calmer already.
Right.
But honestly, the whole finding your reason for being can feel kind of daunting.
It can.
Like, what if I miss my calling or something?
It's interesting you mentioned that because the concept of Ikigai isn't about this grand singular pursuit.
Really? Yes.
No, not at all. And in fact, the document actually mentions that in Okinawa, Japan,
Okay.
where there's a high concentration of centenarians.
Wow.
Many attribute their long lives to living with a strong sense of Ikigai.
So you're saying my Ikigai could be as simple as I don't know, baking the perfect sourdough bread.
It could be. It's less about the what and more about the why.
Okay.
The document's caption on that Ikigai book cover image breaks it down nicely. It's about finding something you love, something you're good at, something the world needs, and yes, something you can be paid for.
Okay, so it's not just about following your bliss blindly into a life of professional finger painting, even if you're really good at it.
Precisely. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passions and skills align with what you can contribute to the world and, of course, make a living from.
Right.
It doesn't have to be this monumental revelation. It can be discovered through those small but significant things that bring you joy and a sense of purpose.
It's funny you mentioned sourdough because, I've been trying to perfect my sourdough dame for a while now.
Yeah.
Maybe I've been looking at it all wrong this whole time.
Right.
Instead of chasing the perfect rise, maybe it's about the joy of the process.
Right.
The satisfaction of sharing a freshly baked loaf with friends.
See, that sounds like a pretty fulfilling Ikigai to me.
Right.
It's those small, meaningful moments
Yeah.
that often add up to a life well lived.
I love that. Okay, so we've got Wabi-sabi for embracing imperfection,
Yes.
Ikigai for finding our purpose.
Okay.
What about mastering the skills we need to actually pursue that purpose?
That's where our next concept, Shu-ha-ri, comes in.
Okay.
It's essentially a framework for skill mastery, deeply ingrained in Japanese culture, and you sent over an image
Yes.
that depicts this beautifully, two figures practicing martial arts against the backdrop of a traditional Japanese temple.
It's such a powerful image.
It is.
The intensity of their focus, the serenity of the setting, it really captures that essence of dedication and discipline.
It does, and those are key elements of Shu-ha-ri.
Okay.
It's a journey of learning that unfolds in 3 stages: Shu, Ha, and Ri.
Okay, so walk me through those stages. What does it actually look like to embrace the Shu-ha-ri way of learning?
Okay, so imagine you're learning calligraphy.
Okay.
In the Shu stage, you're the eager student, meticulously copying the master's brushstrokes.
Right.
Following every rule and technique. It's all about laying a strong foundation.
Right. Trust the process, put in the reps.
Exactly.
It reminds me of when I first started learning guitar.
Yes.
I spent hours just trying to get my fingers to form the right chords.
Of course.
Following those beginner tutorials religiously.
Exactly. And just like with your guitar practice, once you've mastered those basic chords,
Yes.
you start to experiment a bit.
Right.
That's the Ha stage. You begin to integrate those foundational techniques into your own style, maybe adding a bit of flair to your strumming, experimenting with different genres.
Oh, so that's where it starts to get really fun.
Right.
You're not just copying anymore. You're bringing your own creativity into the mix.
Precisely. You're still respecting the foundations, but you're also venturing out, finding your own voice within the tradition.
Yeah.
And that's a crucial step towards mastery.
So from mimicking to modifying, it's all about building upon that solid foundation.
It is.
What happens when you're ready to break free from the mold entirely?
Right.
That's where Ri comes in, right?
Exactly. The Ri stage is about reaching a level of mastery where you can innovate
Okay.
and transcend the very rules you've internalized.
Wow.
And in fact, the document actually quotes a famous Japanese swordsmith
Okay.
who said, "First you master the sword, then you forget the sword."
Wow, that's powerful.
Isn't it?
So it's not about discarding the rules entirely,
Right.
but understanding them so deeply that you can bend
Yes.
and even break them to create something truly unique.
Precisely think about groundbreaking musicians like Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, yeah.
He mastered the guitar,
Right.
but then pushed the boundaries, experimenting with feedback and distortion, creating a whole new sound.
That's a great analogy. It's like you've climbed to the top of the mountain,
Yes.
and now you can see beyond the familiar peaks and valleys to chart your own course.
And that's the beauty of Shu-ha-ri.
Yeah.
It recognizes that learning is a lifelong journey. There's always room to grow, to innovate, even within the seemingly rigid structures.
So to bring it all together, we've got Wabi-sabi reminding us to find beauty in imperfection.
Yes.
Ikigai guiding us towards our purpose.
Okay.
And Shu-ha-ri providing a framework for mastering the skills we need along the way.
It's true.
It's amazing how these seemingly disparate concepts connect to paint this really holistic picture of living a more fulfilling life.
They do, don't they?
They really do.
And it's those connections that make these ancient philosophies so relevant to our modern lives.
Absolutely. This has been such an insightful deep dive.
It has.
I'm already feeling inspired to approach life with a fresh perspective, embracing the imperfections, honing my passions, and maybe even bending a few rules along the way.
As you should, and as you continue on your journey, just remember to keep that sense of curiosity alive.
Yes.
Because the more we explore these ideas, the more we discover about ourselves and the world around us.
Absolutely. To our listeners out there, we hope this deep dive has sparked some new insights and inspiration.
We do.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and maybe even try brewing a cup of tea with a newfound appreciation for the art of imperfection.